Oh, wow, that's the exact opposite.
So they basically got this guy just for promotion tournaments.
Wow.
And now in the final game, they've chosen to add him. And you got to imagine that he's got some magical touch here.
Yeah.
That he is so young to the team, has no previous experience, no record of him anywhere else. And he comes in here. Is he smurfing in the Challenger League?
Maybe. I can't wait to see what he brings in now. That makes it even more exciting because it's only 9 days. This guy could be fantastic. Maybe he's a new up-and-comer. You know, you never know in situations like this. All the other teams up on top, they're preparing for Worlds. They're not looking for new players. Maybe he's like, okay, this is my opportunity. Let me try to carry BBQ. But let's jump into ban pick here for game number 1. All stuff that we can expect at this point in terms of bans.
Yeah, we've covered the Cho Zaya from Kongdu in their 5-game series, rather 4-game series against BBQ Olivers. But the Janna was the pick that developed itself as the potential first pick on the red side, on blue side. Everybody wanted to first pick Janna. It's because the game's turned into a passive, wait for the opposing team to make a mistake kind of game. And so getting rid of her and Lulu combined means that BBQ will now have to resort to a strategy that didn't work for them, which was look for engage, look for more aggression. They'll have to fix their coordination, but at least they'll have that star AD carry champion. Ghost has to live up to the expectations that these champions are setting for the rest of the world.
Well, game 4 was a little bit of a, you know, a smudge spot on his record, if you will, because that was not his finest game. Definitely the pressure was beginning to get to him. He was looking nervous, but he's had a couple of games to, or rather days, to get prepared for this matchup, this best of 5. Corki and Gragas, a couple of power picks coming in here for CJ.
This is really smart out of CJ. So you notice that Syndra is still available. Candy could easily go for that pick, but locking away the Corki early is telling Temp, we're just going to prioritize shutting down BBQ because we realized that they were very bad at making anything proactive happen. So get him out of comfort, put him on the spot right on the last game. And guess what? Temp is actually not a very good Syndra. He went 0-4 in the entire season, regular season, for that pick. Not a very impressive champion for his repertoire. I'm sure he might be changing it up, but he'll now be facing a very strong mid lane.
Again, 2015, November 14th. That is when BBQ formerly ever defeated CJ Entus in the Caspa Cup Finals. So, yeah, that's the exact date. And, well, we have another Ezreal pick here for Veritas. He's going to get another shot at this. If you guys do remember, we had Singed and Ezreal picked up by CJ, and it won them a game. Very one-sided.
It worked very well for them. Rather, the Singed, I think, was a big highlight. The Ezreal was cool, but did not stand out as much as what Sol was doing with the Flash Singe, jumping onto a Kog'Maw time and time again. But the Ezreal, getting locked away this early, takes away the suspicion of him being jungle Ezreal, which is what we've been dying to see. But hey, you've got Gragas in a double AD carry composition. That's the best guy for it.
I like the start here for CJ. They've definitely done their research coming into this best of 5, which is something we said was an advantage for CJ. Even though they don't have 2 best of 5s to have a chance to get into LCK, have a bit of time to study and relax. We do have another one of these, you know, shielding supports taken away in the Karma.
You got to get rid of these kinds of champions here. Force the teams to actually want to win. No longer can you rely on your opponent's mistakes, because that forces you to be a reactive player. You have to prompt the mistake. That's what you need to be doing. The proactivity comes from setting the right vision, proper wave management with a strong enough draft, puts the opponent in positions where they have to make decisions on the fly. They slip up, and that's how you punish, as opposed to a passive fest of, well, we're just going to do nothing and wait for you to do even less, for you to do worse than nothing.
Yeah. Rakan is another one of these supports that actually builds Ardent Sensor. So they're just taking away everything that could potentially build that. So we're seeing Zyra come in with all the support bans we've seen in total. Let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 support bans, and Tarek versus Zyra in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm not feeling much of this game plan out of BBQ with a lot of targeted bans already at the bottom lane. Janna and Lulu obviously have to be included into that. But Pure has not had any difficulty with champion pool the entire split already in the regular season. He has a whopping 11 different champions played. So you're banning
11.
out 3. It's not a big deal. And those aren't even his main ones. I mean, this is a guy that played brand support. So
yeah,
he has a deep enough champion pool for this. And we might get to see the revisit of Singed and Ezreal.
Exactly, especially with Jax being locked in. This is the pick. He picked it against last time just to counter the Jax. He didn't even stay in lane against him. He just proxied for half the game. And so Soul is essentially being given the alley-oop to pick that Singed up.
Now remember that this time, Singed is not going to be up against a Kog'Maw though. So it's a lot harder for the Singed to be effective in dealing with these hyper carries if they can get away and blast him away too. So the Maokai gets locked in as a safe choice instead. He won't be able to proxy the Jax, but at least he'll be able to farm, keep him at bay. And while BBQ do have Talia and are putting Tempt on a carry that can influence the side lanes, he will also be up against Corki and Package that can have just as much influence in harming that Jax as the Talia can in helping him out.
Yeah, and they're putting Bono on just a safe team fighting kind of champion. You know, no big carries. He's not going to have a super flashy first game on BBQ, so something easy enough to get him some experience in the booth.
You say it's easy, Valdez, but we have seen Sejuani's miss ultimate.
Well, I should say straightforward, right? You know,
right, straightforward.
That's
how Sejuani mains will always say. Sure, the ultimate's straightforward. You just shoot it out and it lands. That's, well, unfortunately not the kind of Sejuanis that we have seen for quite some time. So he definitely has big shoes to fill because it's a really embarrassing ultimate to miss. It hits your morale.
It's very obvious.
Yeah, it hits your morale. It thwarts the entire game plan. You got to wait so long before you make a new play, but he'll at least have a solid composition to back up his engage with Totoro's Tarek. And the synergy between these two will have to come into play if BBQ want to make this work. They need to be proactive.
Very true. I do like the draft here from CJ, though. The Corki on Candy, we've seen that coming in so many times and doing tons of work, especially in the late game. The poking that comes out of that one champion can be really impressive. So we'll be up against the Talia of Tempt, though. Let's hop into game number 1, guys, as the fans are already getting excited for this one. Let's hop on to the Rift right now. That was a little bit all over the place, but we'll give them a pass. It's day number 1.
I think
game
they
number
really like Star Guardian Ezreal.
Huge cheers going out.
Like straight out of a Final Fantasy game.
You gotta love the hair, you know. They didn't skimp on any of the details.
Where's Star Guardian Tarek?
Did we even get
Just
to look at
make
Tarek yet?
everyone Star Guardian. He's not.
He doesn't have a.
He's bare-chested, which I think is what I would have cheered, and many other people in the crowd were cheering for when they showed the muscular Tarek.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately, he'll be up against his worst enemy, the last person he wanted to be up against, Ezreal versus Tarek.
Ezreal versus Tarek. Also Zyra versus Tarek. It's going to be the farm lane, but look at this. Ghost is on top of a ward, and, well, Zyra blows their cover, gives it away.
No shenanigans early. The only things that do come to mind is that not only is Tarek a really tough lane to die in, he's taken heal, and Ghost has taken barrier. So they're putting everything once again to have Ghost survive.
Just a super passive lane. Sit back, farm as much as possible, and try not to die.
That's going to be really hard, though, when you're up against Zyra. It's a big shift from what we expected to come out of Pure. Thresh was still available. We've seen how it works against Tristana. The Flash Plays are great. It serves as a nice shielding for your AD carries with the Lantern, but having the Zyra means that BBQ's bottom lane no longer gets a free pass down there. They're up against a lot of harass, a lot of punishment between Zyra and Ezreal early on. And
Yeah.
with all the defensive supports, what you can expect out of here is a big CS disparity growing between Veritas and Ghost.
It's definitely going to feel a lot different from the games they played against Kongdu, that's for sure. See if they can adapt soon enough, as it seems like BBQ is just kind of on the same page in terms of what they wanted to do. You guys can already see the poke here at level 2.
And look at what has happened in this CS score. Veritas had missed one before, but it's 12-6. It's pretty good for them, and they're just whacking away at the turret, and they know that Sejuani is not going to be able to pull off anything spectacular this early on.
Yeah. You can see even an early ward just spotting the Krugs here, trying to make sure that Gragas isn't coming down for a cheeky early gank on this very defenseless lane. But this ward is going to spot him up towards the top side, so they know they'll be safe down there for now.
But you know, we highlight bottom as a point of strength here for CJ Entus, but Soul's last hitting top has been awful. He's 12-21. He's not against Ezreal Zyra. He's up against just Jax. Maokai has the ability to at least last it in that lane better than what is currently going on.
Okay, this ward is going to spot Bono coming in. And he's right on top of a ward, so they just back off. Not too much, though. They don't want to give up too much pressure. The only thing I will say about top side is that Jax was able to pick up 2 of the Raptors, 2 of the mini ones, so he did hit level 2 on the first wave. So maybe he was able to exert a bit more pressure in the lane because of that.
True, that does come into play, and now he's not that far ahead, actually. So Maokai's done a good job of catching back up. Just worrisome for the first wave when it was already starting to grow, but if he can keep up, that's all that's necessary for this lane.
Soul has definitely shown his ability to play multiple different champions.
Oh, he missed the cannon.
Yeah, he missed that. But I'm sure, you know, any top laner at this point needs to know how to play Maokai if you want to be at the top level.
Even in solo queue, Maokai is great.
Yeah.
You can actually kill people, believe it or not. You can tank forever, so your positioning mistakes are not easily as punishable. And best of all, you get to wear a cat onesie.
If you have the skin, that is.
Well, why would you play Maokai if you don't have the skin?
I mean, well, what if you need a safe tank top?
No skin, no Maokai.
This poke is
You
pretty
know,
ridiculous.
teams remake scrims from wrong skins. They try to on stage, but it's not really allowed.
Scrims?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Wrong skin, sorry. Remake.
Wow. It's pretty crazy. I was going to say that I'm not a top lane player, but I played Maokai because I got to, put into the top lane with the system, and I'm like, okay, Maokai is easy enough. And so I did that, and they picked Nasus against me. I'm like, they've been doing their research, actually. This guy in solo queue.
How'd it go?
I did well in lane, but eventually Nasus just got too out of control. We pushed them really early. We got an inhibitor, but a couple of team fights later, they also had Tristana, who was getting out of control. So. Well, enough of my solo queue rants. We got an engage here that actually forces the flash out of Pure at level 4.
And didn't want to risk anything happening there. Look at Veritas' HP. He's not that healthy to assist with full-out all-in from BBQ, and Tarek's sustain has come into play. He's packing a lot of regeneration, same with Tristana and her Doran shield. So while the harass looks to be great out of Zyra, now that the levels are starting to add up for BBQ, it's no longer that powerful. Remember, there's a reason why we started out with the harass supports being the main supports in the bottom lane, and then eventually when the Doran shield got introduced, when people learned that you could go double defensive summoners where it's a lot easier to weave in different champions into the bot side, we shifted over to hard engage because you could get out of laning phase and influence the map more.
We saw Tempt edging his way down towards bottom side. He is level 7, hasn't used his Weaver's Wall to influence either of these lanes just yet. We were talking about how this is a great pick for Tempt because he's quite good at the Taliyah, and this is basically where her strengths lie, but so far hasn't really found an opportunity. Tried to go bot, but immediate pings came out and they just backed off.
Top is the only one that comes to mind here, considering the heavy investment in vision that BBQ already have. Double control wards, although it will be reduced to 1 with Maokai clearing it, and the entire river has been taken care of. Not only a Scuttle Crab, but a green ward in the Pixel, as well as the Tri. So she's set up to go there, but Wing's already expecting it.
We got another engage down here. Pure taking a bunch of damage. No more flash. Here comes Tempt. And this might just be a dead Zyra. First blood goes over to Tempt. Flying on in on his wall.
Surf is up in the bottom lane, and Tempt gets to catch the wave and first blood for himself. So now, not only is he not punished in CS because Corki was basing at the same time, making the timing of his roam that much better, he gets to pick up first blood and swing back the lane for BBQ. They're already doing a good job in catching back up, surviving through the early harass, but now they're going to get ahead. They have damage onto the turret, and one more visit for any one of these teams down here, and we're going to likely see a fight over first brick.
Candy picks up his package, but there's nowhere to gank. And we're going to take another look at this. Pure is level 5. He has no flash, and he doesn't root Ghost. So Ghost is like, okay.
Right away, even before the engage happened, Taliyah was making her way down. So she was so ahead of the play that BBQ clearly showed that they were communicating that they wanted to go into Pure, punishing the lack of summoner spell. And it seems like that might be the game plan that they're going for. A little bit more aggressive than what we saw in their matches against Kongdu, but just getting a lane advantage when it comes to summoners and then punishing that is not a bad strategy for a game 1. Feel out your opponent, see where they're at.
They should be very happy with their start so far. Bono so far has been looking for a couple of ganks, but hasn't really found much. Also had the blue buff stolen away from his side of the map by Winged, making it pretty annoying for this newer jungler.
You know that also becomes slightly annoying is that I can't look at him and not picture the U2 singer, the real Bono.
I know.
With the glasses. He's got to have glasses. Why is he not allowed to wear purple glasses?
I mean, I'm sure he is, but he just decided not to.
Such a conflicting name.
I mean, there's got to be a reason that he picked the name, right? Maybe he's a fan, but we'll have to wait and see maybe if he can get into an interview. If BBQ wins this, of course, we will have the team interview. Uh-oh, Winged in a pretty bad spot here, trying to get away. He will flash for that body slam.
I am surprised that Bono chose not to utilize his ultimate there. Could have easily been able to find a pick onto the Gragas, who doesn't have any magic resist right now, and Taliyah is on a spike of sorcerer shoes, so I think there could have been more than enough damage to take out Wing. Taking out your support early on means that your lanes will continue to flourish.
I definitely do agree. Maybe just holding back. Maybe he wanted to wait until the flash came out, but after the flash came out, he didn't even commit to it. So holding on to an ultimate perhaps is another show of, you know, that greenness of being a rookie. Ghost is looking good so far in the lane. He's been dodging a lot of these roots, and I think the early trades that they've had have been giving him confidence. He's caught up to Ezreal now in farm.
It's going to get easier for him, too, because he has a nice itemization when it comes to laning. You've got Zerkers and BF versus Tyr and Sheen, so he's got more flat damage than Ezreal, who really can only win in these trades by poking at you, hitting that Sheen proc and getting that extra damage in. Otherwise, he will struggle when it comes to just trading blow for blow against Tristana. So they both have to hang back and just wait for the minions to crash against each other before looking to take any real aggressive trade.
And you mentioned before, Singed was really the star performer in that game when we had Ezreal Singed. This time Ghost does get rooted, but as a Tristana, it's easy enough. If your reaction time is fast enough, you just hop away as that root is coming in.
And Ghost's laning phase wasn't all that bad. It was really the team fights that started to look horrendous for him. So I think that him getting out here, we still have yet to see what he can bring to the table when it comes to his team relying on him, but at least they haven't gone with a composition that has him be so important. You've got Jax, you've got Talia. They can actually win the game by themselves, and now they'll have an Infernal Dragon to add to their resume.
Yeah, I like the proactivity here of Bono. He just starts it up, calls over Tempt, and it's not like they had complete control over the area, but a couple of very nicely placed control wards offer them enough vision and vision denial so that they can sneak that one through. Infernal Drake this early is quite nice.
I think that came out of the early back from Totoro. Remember when Veritas was looking for Ghost and he was by himself, jumps out of the root? Well, Tariq was busy helping Sejuani set that play up, and when you have pushing lanes in mid, everything around it becomes that much easier.
Thinking about a play down here, but all the vision is denied.
Do you like U2?
Not really. I mean, it's okay. Not the biggest fan myself. What about you?
Not the biggest fan. I had some songs on cassette.
Cassette. Huh?
Yeah. I'd wait for the songs to come on the radio.
Back in the day,
then record them when it came on, and then save them in my cassette, and then re-listen to it. That's how you used to listen to music, kids.
Most people in our chat probably don't know what a cassette is.
Oh, I'm sure
Whoa.
they do.
Look at this.
It's on t-shirts.
Even so, that was an interesting use of Maokai Ultimate.
Just really wanted to shove the wave out.
Looking for a play now onto Tempt. He flashes early. Does not get slowed up by that package.
The only way for that play to have work is if he actually got knocked into Gragas, because as Talia, you're worried that the flash body slam is going to come out, and that is a big threat to you. You don't have cleanse, you're going to get popped right away. But remember that Tempt and Bono got to burn Winged Splash, so it wasn't available for that play. However, flashing early is the right call. A lot of times, you just don't even want to take any damage so that you can continue applying pressure in the lane, because you know that the jungler is so unlikely to revisit you again. The setup to find another opportunity in mid is so time and effort consuming that he's likely to just continue on his merry way, and we'll just have to live without having no flash.
Tempt's going for a wall. He's not even riding it. He's just placing it down and coming over with the help of his team. There's 4 members of BBQ here looking for first brick. The 4 members of CJ grouping up, and they will save it for now.
This is what BBQ was not doing in their series against Kongdu, being proactive in the lanes that they got leads on. Now, it looks nice here, but it's still putting effort into Ghost. Is it going to pay off? Is it actually going to be the right call this time? I think that you wouldn't be making these moves if you didn't feel confident in your AD carry, if you didn't talk to him after, if you still didn't have faith in him. So I think that BBQ is doing what they think is best.
Ghost pushing down here by himself. You saw Totoro and Bono looking for a play, but they were standing right on top of a ward. Does get thwarted. But here we go. The first brick will come down, and that gold graph is not updated as it does go down. BBQ now with a 3,000 gold lead.
3,000 gold lead, and all of the objectives have gone their way. We're not going to see the bottom lane switch up to top just yet. Jax, while he does have his Trinity Force, is more than okay to continue laning here against the Maokai, and they need to go catch that wave back bottom. But what needs to happen now is that Bono will have to be setting up the vision for the next rotation of the AD carry. So this is where a new jungler would truly start to struggle with. So a laning phase was fine, but what can he bring to the pool? What do we even know about this guy? If you know anything about this guy, please tell us, because this guy is a bigger Ghost, is the biggest than Ghost himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely hit us up on Twitter if you got any inside information. If your friend's cousin went to school with Bono, you can also tell us about that.
We're gonna get pictures of
the U2 singer.
U2 Bono.
It's like, yeah, I went to go see him in concert one time. They were pretty good. Wrong Bono, guys. He didn't switch to League of Legends.
Wrong Bono. Well,
we have tons of vision over here for CJ. Looks like they really want to take Rift Herald.
it's tons of vision, almost like being comatose and only your eyes are working, because we're at a snail pace of 1 kill every 18 minutes here, Valdez.
Nice. This is what we came to expect from promotions, especially after seeing Kongdu play just Kog'Maw comps over and over and over again.
And the lead is nice, but now they got to shoot for the Rift Herald, but it's going to be a lot tougher for BBQ. I don't think they're going to have such an easy time cracking this turret as they did in the previous one, because Ezreal already completed Trinity. He's pretty darn spiked. Zyra can always team fight you, and unless they actually push the waves effectively as opposed to just camping brushes, I think they'll have a really tough time cracking through CJ's second tier 1.
We saw Crazy, we got one look at it in the bottom lane, but this is something they've been giving to Crazy over and over again, is these carries, these split pushers. We've remarked multiple times how he's not the most, flashy top laner. He's not going to go in there and get solo kills as he dives in and just barely get out. He's no Khan, but they continuously do this, where they put him on picks like Jax, and he had that one game where he had a good response where he went for the inhibitor when they realized that they couldn't contest the Baron. But then later on in the same game, he got caught pushing a little bit too far. So it's like he's on the cusp of being really quite good at these split laners, split pushers.
He's now on the cusp of earning his own first solo kill. Sejuani comes in to assist, but he got it on his own. He's got the red buff for himself.
Look at this fight, though. It's going on right now. Candy versus Tempt. He has the package and gets away. The rest of his team is there to support him.
So Jax with the red buff gets a lot of pressure onto Sol and might be able to get that tier 2 with that red buff with Sejuani by his side. I think that this is a likely scenario. I don't think Sol is going to teleport down here. You've got Candy basing. He might have to pick up the slack in the bot side and instead goes mid. So that's going to be a tier 2 likely going BBQ's way if nobody looks at it. But Wing decides it's his duty to do so. And you were talking about Crazy's Jax. They've actually been putting him on very different carries all the time. You're saying that they have him on carries, but they never actually stuck to one champion for him. This is the first time they've gone and revisited the Jax pick. Look for it again. It worked in a way against CJ. Remember the Singe, but there were other elements about that game that were obviously missing for BBQ. But having the Jax this time means that the team can feel confident that something that worked for them before is at their disposal.
Yeah, especially when you can get off to a good start like this with the second kill in our game. We are averaging 1 per 10 minutes, as is kind of the average here at all of promotions. But the Baron wasn't up yet, so it was a good rotation down by Sejuani because the Rift Herald was just disappearing and the Baron hadn't spawned yet. So there was no way that they could really abuse the fact that the jungler was out of position, and it was a really good timing there by Bono.
You're talking about time. Here's a fun fact about time itself. We get a kill every 10 minutes, and the breaks between games are 8.5. So it takes longer to get a kill here than wait for the games to switch from game 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 and so forth.
There you go. Fun fact about time, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
That's like when the teacher tricks you. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a really fun assignment today.
How would you ever believe that?
You don't.
Really fun assignment.
Your homework's fun today.
Yeah, it's like you got to go to the library and do a bunch of research. Isn't that interesting? You get to learn so much.
Hey, that actually is really fun.
I think it's fun as adults. I've learned that when I was in school, I disliked the whole schooling and education system for what it was. Like, it didn't make me want to learn. it just made me memorize facts and not really do much with them, except just forget them the next day. But now that I've become an adult, I'm like, yeah, I want to learn this, I want to learn that, I want to do this and that, and it's almost too much at this point.
You know, I heard that Finland actually has the best education system, and they do things differently where you don't have to go to school at 9 in the morning. I think it's 10. You don't have to go there for a ton of hours. And there's a gank, though.
Yeah, here we go. Pure just runs straight at Bono. Put him in the bone zone, and here we go. Soul is going to get in here, too. He will have to flash away. And so it doesn't look like there will be any more kills afterwards, but Bono slapping Zyra around there in the top lane.
That's Pure already dying twice on the side of CJ Entus, and we get ourselves our first 5-man action for on BBQ, shooting for that turret, but with 4 people defending here, I don't think they're going to be able to commit to cracking this turret down, but I love this move out of Crazy. Rotates as quickly as he can to the objectives, and this is all he's got to be doing this game. Demolitions expert, keep shooting for turrets. You know that CJ also struggled to be proactive in their first match against BBQ Oliver, so this is a good response from him and makes the pick that much more powerful.
Yep, damage dealt is crazily in Crazy's favor so far. He's just been whacking at that tree. He's been practicing for the late game, if you will. And even coming in here after getting mid-turret and stealing the Wolves, because why not?
This is perfect. You don't really want to ask for more out of your Jax. He'll TP to help you out if necessary, but his mind is always on turrets, shooting for gold, because now he's already about 60 CS up onto the Maokai. He's been pressuring the map well, and it forces CJ to make difficult decisions. That's what we were talking about in the pregame. It's not about being passive. It's about forcing your opponent to make difficult choices as often as possible. Do you go answer the Jax? Every time that Jax is in the lane, you're like, well, who's going to deal with this? Do we want to send somebody to kill him? If at some point CJ decides to send somebody down, that could be the cue for BBQ to start bearing themselves, and it's an example of them forcing CJ to make a wrong choice.
Well, this might be the first rookie mistake out of Bono. He gets caught face checking a brush, and a perfect pass. Wing is going to bring him back into the team and win the trade for his team.
That cast was stellar. I actually thought that was going to send him the other way, but
yeah,
that was more than impressive. And what wasn't is that Totoro chose to not save Bono's life. He had enough with the music, not using the ultimate to keep his new jungler alive.
We'll see what kind of pressure CJ can get on the map now. They take out the jungler, and they wanted to push mid, but they couldn't get mid. And now we have Pure just recalling, so no objectives will be taken after that kill.
Just a nice pick there out of the CJ Entus squad, fighting for wards. That's how it always happens. You don't expect the Gragas in the brush, and with passive down, everybody jumps onto it. Unfortunate for him that the ultimate actually hit the Zyra and not the Ezreal. Had the Sejuani ultimate hit the damage dealer, he would not have died.
That cask was literally perfect. It was right in front of him. 180 degrees. Turns right back around. They do pick up that kill, so. Winged is on his Gragas game today. Second item, Knight's Vow. That's just been the name of the game here for these tank team fight junglers.
It's been the name of the game for a couple of weeks now, maybe even months. The item has been so strong with the AD carries finally being acknowledged as incredibly important roles in the current meta. It's a disadvantage these days to not actually have a Knight's Vow at times. It's almost as important as what Locket used to be.
Temp just strolls up to top lane and takes out another turret, and Candy gets there late, even though he had his teleport available, so they just give another one away. We have another team fight, and that is that awkward Sejuani ult, but the perfect knockback here by the Taliyah onto Wing. They want that kill, they're going deep. Temp will get into the burst damage! Unbelievable! Veritas has to flash out of that one. Cosmic Radiance on the backside doesn't really do anything, but the flashy parts were early on in that team fight.
And Crazy came in with a huge 3-man stun. The Titanic Hydra just bursting down. The tanks are tanky for CJ. They get to survive for quite some time, but the rest of the lineup can't do it. And they're facing a Baron, but they're going to lose this and likely lose the fight.
There's no smite. Wing, he's just, Solo's just walking on in there. And he's going to go down. Let's see if they can pick off any more. Candy accidentally auto-attacks that ward. And he's got a Jax on his tail with no Valkyrie. That's going to be another kill going over. Can we have another one? Ghost will say yes, and down goes Veritas.
And this BBQ is such a refreshing sight to see. They are grouping together. They are not having these huge botches in the team fights. They understand what their roles are as these different champions. And now, they're being more proactive than any other game that we've seen them this entire promotion tournament. They're looking for an inhibitor turret in under 30 minutes.
Should be able to get it here. There's absolutely no defense. Zyra and Gragas alone can only poke and just watch as their turret and their inhibitor will go down. That will be the first one going over. There we go, as it does go down. Before 28 minutes, BBQ still have 2.5 minutes of Baron buff left.
Yes, and they got the first inhibitor right away. This means that Jax becomes much stronger. But first, let's look at how this fight started. It goes off the jungler. So first it was Bono, now it's Winged. And even though Sejuani ulti misses, Talia gets a great shove back onto the Gragas. And unfortunately, the cast can't get rid of everybody. But this ultimate and stun can. You don't get more picture perfect than that 3-man in this specific moment in the setup for your Baron, killing the jungler, pushing the opponent back, and while you have the inside track to Baron, that was excellent.
It's quite fantastic, and the Corki might have had a better shot of, you know, being part of that fight if he hadn't gotten knocked off the wall that Tempted sent through. He was forced to burn the Valkyrie early, so that he actually did get hit by that stun and was forced to flash away. So it was kind of an unfortunate series of events, but so far Crazy's Jax has really been on point. And they're all recalling right
They're
next to Crazy.
For a pick, but they are unaware of his positioning. This is just awesome to see because normally a split pusher would give his position away and would go on the minion wave, but there's no need to do so. Why? Because BBQ, their 4-man, is not yet under pressure, and so if he were to die, it would be a free kill because his counterpart, the rest of his team, would be unable to get anything out of it. So by him waiting behind in the shadows until the rest of the squad is inside the base, pushing a turret, is the right call, and now he gets to have Talia and effectively waste some time out of CJ.
Well, so far, as CJ fails to follow up, look at that damage out of Tristana now. BBQ is 14,000 gold ahead, and since the beginning of this game, even though it started out slow, they've been looking like the heavy favorites coming into this one. I was expecting another very close best of 5 like we saw on Thursday, but BBQ, they have other ideas in mind.
And this is a massacre. They've been playing excellently, and what was going on before Valdez, because this makes no sense. If you took the nameplates off and told me that game 4 was BBQ and that this one is as well, I would have believed you.
Yeah, we have another fight here. Soul, he's all alone. He's very tanky, but he gets stunned up. CC chain forever, and he will be going down here. The damage that's coming out of Tristana and Tempt right now is unbelievable. The flash forward. They're going for the ace underneath this.
Go for the penta.
They got to go for it.
Give it to him.
They got to go for it.
Give it
Let's
to him.
group up. Let's
it's
group
the confidence.
Up. Here we go. Bono going in. They're going to tank it, and down he will go. And the penta will go over to Tristana, and Ghost, even though he dies, will pick up that penta. A huge confidence booster for him and his team.
It could not get more better than that for BBQ's opening game here. Confidence, destruction over CJ, and under the average game time. They're up 1-0, and it's looking good.
Absolute demolition here in game number 1. BBQ, they've come in hot and ready tonight. Crispy and clean as this rooster coming into the booth. They made it look easy, man.
These wings are spicier than what we ordered, Valdez. We thought we were going to get stale, soggy, maybe even microwaved.
Ugh.
But freshness, tingy almost. A spice you can't feel. And CJ, stunned.
Yeah, they don't really know what to, how to feel after that
like,
one.
Hey, is this the same team we prepared against?
Yeah. Look at the coach's
what
face.
was going
like,
on?
What the hell?
Tactical pause there. completely different squad. I'd like to call an audible.
Even the crowd on the side of CJ, they're just stunned, silenced, if you will. They have to hear the Roosters crow. I mean, they were loud in the beginning of the game, but then once BBQ took over, CJ fans were just silent.
BBQ can be quite happy with this one. And that was their blue side game, which has been favored, of course, but they looked prepared. They knew what to do.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of criticism.
Yeah, Coach Karam there for BBQ having a small talk with